Viewers, please hit the like button for us. Please subscribe. And of course, we're going to get into a bit of transfer talk a little bit later, but there's a big game this weekend. And I'm excited about this one as a neutral because both sets, for the first time in a long while, in terms of the football terrace community, both sets of fans feel very confident they can win the game. Chelsea host Arsenal. I want to go to Alex first as it's your debut. How are you feeling about this game? I've seen lots of combined 11s where Chelsea fans are putting 6 or 7 Chelsea players in. Whoa. They are convinced. A lot of Chelsea are convinced they can win this game. How do you feel about it? Are you confident that you can beat Arsenal, or do you think they'll just be too strong for you?
I'm excited for this game, only because I think this is a good litmus test for us to find out how good our manager is, and at the same time test the squad. I think we can beat them. I really do. I think the team's strong enough. There is no excuses. On our day, we can beat anyone. The problem is are the young players going to step up to the field? Personally, I think I'm confident that we're going to see a big performance because Poch will set us up and out. It will be a tactical battle that will come out on top on.
Where's Chelsea got all this confidence from all of a sudden?
Bro, 3 wins does that to you. When you don't win for like
3 wins does that to you, but you're facing Arteta, you're facing Arsenal's side that's got stronger, with players coming back from injuries. You're facing Arsenal. You're literally coming off the momentum of beating Man City as well. I mean, yes, Chelsea have got 3 wins, but I mean, you're still facing Arsenal, who are the better side. I think this game is bigger for Arsenal than it is for Chelsea because Arsenal, after beating City, they got that mental block out of the way. But now, if you don't go and get a result against Chelsea, it's a question of, cool, you beat City, but then that was, it's mediocre if you don't pick up all 3 against Chelsea.
But I think a draw
D, what do you mean by bigger for Arsenal?
I think this game is bigger for Arsenal. Look, they're coming off a win against Man City. That was the mental block for Arsenal, right? Now, if they go into this game and end up losing to Chelsea, I don't care if they won 3 games this season. We know that Chelsea are still in the process. Then that would not be serious from Arsenal. You can't go beat City and get happy about, beating City and saying, you know what, we're serious now. We have to keep this momentum going. And then the next game, you go and lose to Chelsea. This game is massive for Arsenal. It is. Arsenal needs to carry this momentum from the City game.
We can't.
Not really. Because what's your expectation this season? Chelsea are not, with all due respect, I know you spend a lot of money, but you're not a serious club competing for the title. Arsenal are.
No, we're not going to compete for the title.
Yeah, so if you lose this game, I don't think Chelsea's season, or if you win this game, I don't think Chelsea's season is going to have a major impact. But every single game matters for Arsenal now because Arteta ideally needs to win something sooner rather than later. And if it's going to be this season when you beat Man City, you have to go to the Chelsea game and try to beat Chelsea as well.
I think Chelsea could even lose the game and still get a moral victory based on their performance.
We don't do moral victories. That's
no. I'm just being.
We shouldn't become that.
The reality is Arsenal. The reality is your team. It kind of reminds me of when Arsenal was going Arsene Wenger versus Jose days, where we had a bunch of kids. We had a young team that was relatively unproven players going up against a team that was competing for the league. We knew what the result was going into these games. And I feel like this game, once again, we pretty much know that Arsenal are competing for the league. The pressure's on us. I fully agree. And we have to come out there with the victory. Anything less than a victory for Arsenal would be an upset. Based on that, they're 100% right.
I wouldn't say upset.
I would say it's a bit massive.
I wouldn't say it's an upset.
Chelsea,
not a massive upset. No way.
Chelsea forget about Chelsea as a club. They're 11th place. They in the last 40 games before these first 3 wins, they played 38 games and I think they only had like 30 points or something like that, or 40 points. So based on that, their relegation form before these last 3 games. So based on their performance,
that's ridiculous to look at it in that context.
How they were to what we have been for the last calendar year, we have to look at this game and say to ourselves, we know it's Chelsea. We have to go in there, professional job. Don't underestimate them, but we have to go in there and still get the job done and win because we need to keep it going. And I think this is probably a good time for Chelsea because they're on 3 games on the bounce, but this is probably one of the worst teams to play at this moment in time because of how confident we are coming off the back of playing Manchester City.
So, Igal, I hear what you're saying there. Like, Alex, what's your response to that from a Chelsea perspective?
Yeah, for me, anyone comparing us to last season is ridiculous. 70% of the players are gone. We had Frank, Potter, and Tuchel in the season. You need to judge Chelsea based off Poch's time at Chelsea. I'm not saying Poch is the fantastic manager, nor am I saying Chelsea are going to win the league. But I think Chelsea have been decent this year. We've just been unlucky, like with results. So if Chelsea go and beat Arsenal, I wouldn't say, oh my God, I'm shocked that we beat Arsenal. Because we create chances. We don't finish chances. So I've got no doubt that we'll create the chances. And when you create chances, you win games. Like, I don't think it's such a shock. And I think a point for Arsenal would be great. Like, you're going away. It's a great point.
No Arsenal fan is happy with a point. We've not lost at Stamford Bridge in about 5 years. And this is, apart from last year, probably the biggest gap there's been in terms of our quality compared to yours. So a draw would be a bad result for Arsenal.
A draw would there would people be melting down if we drew. Like
then it's written for Chelsea to stop Arsenal from winning then, because they're not good. Arsenal haven't lost there in God knows how long, or haven't
This would be the perfect time, right?
This is the perfect time.
Right.
Okay. Bro, they'll say all this and say Arsenal will win.
One second. I have a rebuttal. I clearly have a rebuttal for everything, and you guys don't even know what I'm about to say right now, but you've done yourselves. The difference with Sheffield United was they didn't win a game the whole time. These guys are off 3 games off the bounce. So once again, similar to the Everton situation, where they were on a record of winning games, these guys are on a record of winning games, and we're going to just bring them down back to reality. Now, I don't want to sit here and say, oh, we're going to absolutely smash Chelsea, because I don't believe that's what's going to happen. I just think it's going to be a situation where when our two teams play, they're going to realize that their issue, which has been scoring goals, is going to be even worse when they face a defense that is built to neutralize chance creation. We do not let teams get too many chances. We do not let you get too many opportunities. You have to be extremely clinical against Arsenal to score goals, which Tottenham were, which Manchester United were. Now, if you can be clinical, you might have an opportunity to get something out of this game. But Chelsea's biggest issue is to be clinical in front of goal when they do get opportunities. And against an Arsenal team that gives you not too many opportunities, I don't back them to do that.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think Chelsea is speaking. I think Alex, you're probably speaking about this game in your own bubble. You're coming off a 3-game win streak. I know it's been rough for you lot for pretty much this whole year, if you look at it. But you're on a new process. But now you're looking at this game. We're facing Arsenal. We've got 3 games in a row. You're living off your own momentum. But I think as neutrals, I'm looking at Chelsea saying, yes, they've won them games, but Arsenal are still the better side. Arsenal have been the better side. Arsenal are the most serious side. I think going into this game, Arsenal are favourites. The pressure is on Arsenal. I'm not looking at Chelsea saying, oh, Chelsea don't win this. Chelsea haven't reached that levels yet. If they win this, then there'll be more talk about Chelsea. Oh, look, Chelsea beat Arsenal. Interesting. They won 3 games. They beat Arsenal. But you have to go and do it. And the chance of that is, as Igal mentioned, I mean, look at City game, for example. Man City didn't create that many. Haaland was quiet all game long because Arsenal have been very solid defensively. They have the joint most clean sheets in the Premier League this season alongside with Palace. And there's a reason for that. So I think, yes, Chelsea are struggling to score their chances, but how many chances are you going to create in the first place? And as the girl said, with the chances that you do create, we've seen that you're not clinical enough. Would you be able to take them? I think there's so many ifs and buts. I think the favourites are Arsenal. Arsenal should be trying to win this game. But Chelsea, we'll see if you lot are serious. It's going to be a big test for you lot in your own bubble, like a Chelsea.
Bro, it's a massive test.
Yeah, it's a massive test, but for Arsenal,
massive, and it's a Poch test. It's not even a player's test; it's a Poch test because he needs to get a massive statement victory against a big side, where we look at him and we go, "Okay, cool, you can outcoach another coach." The Klopp one, where people took moral victories, you know what, we drew with Liverpool. No, like we should have won that game. So one of those performances against Arsenal, I won't be taking any.
It's written.
Alex, let me ask you a question. When it comes to Arsenal, who have you got to stop to ensure you get the win? And who are the players in your team that you think will be equipped to do that?
Bukayo Saka. I think, for me, he's one of my favorite players to watch. And I think he's really developed into, I don't need to play well and I'll score goals. So we'll literally... In my opinion, Colwell's going to have one of those games like he had against Salah, where he's going to have to step up. And I hate that he's at left back, but it's just something that's going to have to happen. I hope Odegaard continues his little away from home form, where he just disappears consistently against big teams, if we can call ourselves a big team still. But realistically speaking, the midfield battle for me is going to be integral. for us to win. I think Caicedo, Gallagher, and Enzo are more than a match. If anything, I think it's the better midfield three than their one, whatever combination they want to put out there. We just need to stop Saka, and I think that would be enough, personally.
Sorry, what was the midfield three you said was better?
I think Enzo, Gallagher, and Caicedo is better than any combination three you can put out there.
Oh,
Based on what?
What?
How many minutes? How many minutes do you even play together? What are you talking about?
Wait. Who's Arsenal's?
He said Gallagher and
Rice.
are better than any
Rice.
combination Arsenal can put out.
Rice, Partey, and Odegaard.
Odegaard, yeah, that's going to be the three.
Let's go off that.
I don't think
I genuinely.
You
That's a
think
2-1
Gallagher
victory for Chelsea.
Connor-
2-1 victory for Chelsea.
Guys. Let Alex explain. You're asking him, and let him explain it.
For me, that's a 2-1 victory for Chelsea. I think Enzo and Caicedo in a double pivot is better than, in my opinion, Declan Rice and Partey. I think they can dominate that midfield. I think Gallagher will get in and around Odegaard and put him off his game as he consistently disappears in those big away from home games. Odegaard is prone for those big games to disappear.
Do you know what would help your case, Al? Do you know what would help your case a lot if you replace Gallagher with Nkunku? But Gallagher's just so much. And we're not talking about any average players. We're talking about Rice and Partey.
We won't do that, Ram. Let's break down what Alex has just said. So his point is he believes that Enzo and Caicedo are better than Declan Rice and Partey. No. The one point he makes, which I want to address first, is if Odegaard disappears in big games, then his presence in that midfield three in a big game is it irrelevant? It's a fair point because Arsenal fans say he goes missing in those games. Is that not a fair point, Igal?
Honestly, I was going to let Rory go first on this one because I seen he was itching to jump on it. But I think it's an irrelevant point. I think the fact that he's basically saying because Odegaard doesn't get a goal or an assist, first of all, we've only played 2 away games this season. We haven't faced a big team away from home yet.
Bro, so you were judging our 40-game track record. What about your track record?
So based on that, his whole point of don't judge this team out based on last year is out the window because he's judging Odegaard based off last year, which last year, if I'm not mistaken,
same variables.
15 goals and 7 assists. So are we going to go through each away performance against all the top 6? And you can tell me off the top of my head what he did? Come on. You're clutching at straws here. I really do think you're clutching at straws.
It's a shambles. It's a shambles. Firstly, Caicedo isn't fit to lace Thomas Partey's boots in his time at Chelsea so far.
That's why you were twerking for him. That's why all of you were twerking for him.
He was actually going to play right back. I said
in his
pictures of you two coming soon.
I said in his time at Chelsea so far, if you think that Caicedo at Chelsea so far has been what Caicedo was at Brighton, then that's interesting and I disagree. Declan Rice is better than Enzo Fernandez and Odegaard is in a different stratosphere to Conor Gallagher. And even if you say that, okay, Caicedo and Enzo is a slightly better pairing than Rice and Thomas Partey, as an overall midfield, Odegaard is so much better than Gallagher that if you're taking the midfield as a 3, the difference between Odegaard and Gallagher is massive compared to any potential difference between Partey, Rice, Enzo, and Caicedo.
You know what?
This is where facts, Rory, and I couldn't have said it better myself. But the main issue I had with what he said was, I get it. If these guys have played together for enough of a sample size for you to say this, but they haven't played enough together. I don't even know how many minutes those 3 have played together for you to put them up there at some of the best in the league.
How many minutes have your boys played together?
Guess what? Part of winning a midfield battle is not only creating chances, holding on to possession. You actually have to keep the other team from scoring. You actually have to help your team contribute to goals and winning games. What contributions to winning games has Enzo Fernandez done? In his time at Chelsea, he's contributed to only, I think, 5 wins in the Premier League. We're talking about the best midfielder, best young midfielder in the world. Stop it, bro. You're overrating these young players. Give them time to develop. Give them time to actually do what they're doing. Let them get to that level where we're having this conversation. Now, when we gas up players, when they've won a World Cup, I hear it. When Conor Gallagher, he's been performing well, I hear it. The last person I want to hear about is this Chelsea midfield. If you were to say your defense, guess what? Your defense has actually been good for years. So I get it. If you were to say your attack, that's laughable. And your midfield, what is it actually doing? It's not contributing to winning games. It's holding on to possession, pointless recycling of the ball that's not leading to chance creation that's not being scored, and defensive lapses that is losing you games. So stop it, bro. Just relax.
You know what you just said contradicts itself. Like it's leading to chance creation that's not being scored. So clearly chances are being created.
Yes, but
no. Hold on. You said they don't do anything. So clearly they're creating chances. Like clearly your sentences were it's leading to chance creation that isn't being scored. So they are doing something. We have a good defense.
The other part.
You say we have a good defense.
To goals.
So what? Defense only works with the back four.
No,
defense is only the back four.
1 second. You genuinely believe the midfield battle is going to be won by Chelsea. I genuinely believe we're going to let you hold on to the ball, and your midfield is going to cost you the game because you're going to lose the ball in the wrong areas of the pitch.
We'll see.
That's my belief. I think we've seen it. We've seen it. With
by the way, I think the opposite is going to happen. I think we're going to give up the ball in the game.
Hey,
I wouldn't be surprised if we give up.
Either way, we're equipped to play that style. But my point is, even without many touches of the ball, your midfield is prone to errors. We played a City team that had Rodri wasn't there, but their players only give up the ball about 14% of the time. Some of your guys in your midfield give up the ball more than 20% of the time, bro. What are we talking about here?
I don't think it's a disrespectful conversation to have. I think it's more fair than you Arsenal fans are allowing Alex to say. I think it's a fair conversation. I think Caicedo hasn't hit the heights that he did at Brighton for sure, but I think he's a much better player than he's showing that he is at the moment.
Bro, he's been excellent in the last 3 games. People won't say that because they only clip the negatives. They only clip like the 1 second that he gives the ball away, that gets clipped. And it's the same for Rice, by the way.
And
Rice gives the ball away once, so that clipped.
And we know what Enzo Fernandez is. That guy is a baller. Let's not act like he's a scrub. So I think it's a much fairer conversation than you guys are letting on.
I think you could argue that Enzo could get into an Arsenal midfield. I think if you built a midfield, I think there's a fair argument that Enzo could get into it. But I think if you're talking about if you want one midfield, if you have to take the full Arsenal midfield or a full Chelsea midfield, I think it's definitely.
I think that's the conversation. Like even as a neutral, I'm looking at Arsenal's midfield is not the thing you should be fighting against, because even if you compare Caicedo to anyone, Arsenal midfield is still really, really good. Rice is a really, really good player. He's almost comparable to Caicedo, if not better. Odegaard's been, even though people say he shies away from the big games, even though he shies away from the big games away from home, he's still shown to be a very, very good player. And Partey's shown to be a very good player himself. I think this is not the fight you should be fighting for. I think you need to retreat, my friend.
I can't lie. I've seen Conor Gallagher for majority of the season at Palace, and he's a solid player. But comparing Gallagher to Odegaard is.
But I didn't compare him though, did I?
Yeah.
I said as a collective.
We're talking about midfield.
You chose to go one-on-one.
Yeah, but we're talking about the midfield three. I'm sorry, Arsenal's midfield is better because Gallagher is there, and this narrative about Odegaard not being featuring in big games. What, Gallagher's a big game player
away from
all of a sudden? Like, what's his narrative?
Bro, Gallagher's been
one of the better players this season. He's been one of the better players this season. He's been significant for Arsenal. Yes, you're still building a new team, a new midfield, but I'm sorry, your midfield hasn't done nothing. And including Gallagher in the midfield three and comparing it to that Arsenal midfield three, the Arsenal midfield three wins it just on the basis of Odegaard. And Rice is fantastic. And you had Partey there as well. That midfield three is complete. It should be complete. They haven't featured as much because of injuries or so, but that midfield is better. It's not. I don't think it's up for debate. Like Enzo is a fantastic footballer, like I said, is as well. But we haven't seen him at that level. But Arsenal, we've seen with Rice this season. We've seen with Odegaard.
Wait, hold on. Let me ask you a question. You haven't seen Rice at what? You haven't seen. You say right. You haven't seen Enzo at that level, but you've seen Rice at that level. I'm talking about this season because Enzo for. So what? We base our opinions on players of 8 games. We're talking about.
You're willing to base this whole theory based on 3 games. What are you talking about?
No, because I'm basing it on. Listen, if my club pays 100 million for Enzo and Caicedo, there's a reason you pay that kind of money for these players because you've seen what they are capable of.
And also,
so I can't just throw that away and base it on 8 games. No, but I think Rice is a good player. I didn't say Rice is a bad player. You're the one taking it to full extremes. I just think that combination of a 3 should.
What does Gallagher offer?
Opinion,
What does Gallagher offer? What does Gallagher offer that Odegaard doesn't?
No,
Sorry?
no, don't do it.
What does Gallagher offer? Because all right, we'll talk about
The
Rice and
dirty work.
Caicedo. What does Rice? Because Odegaard is so clear of Gallagher that it shouldn't even be up for debate. And I've seen Gallagher
it's the
play.
dirty work he offers.
It's
the
dirty work.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes Ji-Sung Punk might have made a career off it.
Someone said
There are
long hair
players that
Mason
make
Mount.
careers off it.
I mean,
But again,
he
you're
makes
talking about
career
whole
off it,
midfield.
but
You're talking about whole midfield. Declan Rice does the dirty work. Declan Rice is an absolute machine in the midfield. So you don't. So what I'm saying is you don't need a Conor Gallagher if you've got a Declan Rice who can do everything Gallagher does and a whole lot more. That's the point. You've got no creator in that midfield. You've got a deep lying playmaker in Enzo, but you've got no Odegaard. It's not a good midfield. It doesn't work.
This is why if I said
I think
Nkunku comes in, it's just different. It's just different.
No, because I don't think Nkunku makes that midfield work. By the way.
Oh, I think he does. 4-2-3-1. It makes you
tank.
so much more dangerous.
I think Hani Chukwuemeka makes us better.
I rate him though.
And that's with time when he develops. So but for me, I just think Gallagher's dirty work off the ball is going to be pivotal. If Gallagher has a terrible game tomorrow, we're in big trouble. I think he's going to have to be so good to disrupt Odegaard. Because Odegaard's a good player. Like, no one's called him a rubbish player.
Let me ask you something. Based on what you're saying, do you believe this team has the potential to go on and become a title challenger very soon?
No, because I don't like our front three. I don't like our front three.
Okay, so you're saying you're 3 players away from potentially challenging?
And a keeper. I don't like our keeper.
So you're 4 players away from potentially challenging.
Yeah, well, what do you want me to do?
You think you have a core of players that are good enough to help this Chelsea team go on and win things?
Well, yeah, based on what I think this team is capable of, in the sense that I like Levi Colwill. I think he's a very good player. I like Enzo Fernandez. I like Caicedo. I like Reece James. I like Badiashile. I like Wesley Fofana. These players were purchased to win leagues. They weren't purchased to compete for 6th or 7th. So if I go and say we need 9 players, I'm being very disingenuous. I think we are literally a great goalkeeper away, a number 9.
And a right back that can play.
Sorry? Gusto's good. I think Gusto's a very good player.
No, I was talking about Reece James, your captain. I think I don't know about y'all, but I don't know how much time and grace you guys are gonna give Reece James.
As much as he needs.
The guy misses damn near 60% of the season every season.
Trust me.
I know it turned out that he wasn't in. Well, I think he's back in training, but I rate Reece James highly. But I do think Chelsea have got to start a plan to move beyond him, because his body is made of biscuits, and that's not an attack on him. I've just seen this movie before, and we've all had players at our clubs. Arsenal's standout would probably be, a combination of Jack Wilshere or Diaby. At Man United, the one who actually stands out to me, 2 players. One was a bit older, to be fair, but Owen Hargreaves and Anderson, 2 midfielders who their United careers got ruined by injury, as an example. And I just think Reece James is going to go down that path as well, which is so unfortunate, because when it comes to his ability, he has the ability to be the best right back in Premier League history. He's that good. But if your body can't play the game, it's a part of sport. It's your physicality, and he just doesn't seem to have it.
6 hamstring injuries in 3 years.
Yeah, but you know what, Rory? I think Chelsea did the right thing. They got Gusto in, who could potentially grow to be now. He can contribute now and grow to be a good starting caliber right back. So it's not like I don't play Reece James tomorrow, by the way. There is no way I'm throwing him in against Martinelli straight away, because
you keep saying tomorrow. It's Saturday, 2 days.
Sorry,
and panicking.
Sorry.
I don't know what my kids are. I hear you. Guys, I want to do some of these super chats here, because there's quite a few of them. I want to respect the viewers here.